Hey,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm doing well, doing well. Excited, excited, excited.
Same here. Same here. Still riding the high of making the video together. That was
Yeah,
so much
yeah,
fun.
yeah. Especially being my first video, just to understand and see. You make a feature film or a short film. You tell people to watch it, and they say, "Yeah, yeah, I'll find some time." And then with the video, people watch it right away because people love music. So it's
Right.
really good to see people kind of like really support in a way that's immediate rather than waiting a week later.
Yep. Yep. Under 4 minutes. It's a short.
Yeah, yeah,
But that was one of the things I loved so much about the process with you making this video is, as an artist, being able to come to you with an idea
yeah,
and say, this is what the song is. It was written in New York last year, but it's taken on additional meaning right now with the pandemic and just with voting. And, while we were writing the song, the idea kept coming up. Like, what do you tell young girls right now? Like,
yeah,
how do you bring all these messages together and just like, what do you say?
yeah.
And you're strong like a lion was like the best thing that I could possibly say. Like, keep going. You got this.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, and it was definitely something that when you hear the song, when I heard the song, we talked about the idea of the video, and I haven't heard the song yet. But after speaking to you, then hearing the song, it's like, wow, it really is a good juxtaposition with your message, what you want to do, and the song itself. You can't really do much and just kind of have when you hear the song, what really comes to you, and put it together rather than trying to create some crazy spin of Queen V,
right.
going from an airplane and landing. You know what I mean? It's not about that. It's very, very simple. It's when there's good written type of story. Basically, you put that to visuals. If it's simple, people will get the message right away.
Yep. Yep. Well, I really appreciate all the hard work that you and your team at
Oh,
Willful
thank you.
Productions did, but you guys really, you nailed it. You nailed it on the head. One of my favorite parts are what we call the hero shots.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how, like, the
Yeah,
idea you had
so
for that?
yeah, so when we you and I spoke about different type of ideas that you want to do for the video, right away I thought about because I take the train in New York City and people, a lot of people who aren't in New York City or who are returning now, they feel as if the trains aren't as safe. But when they take the train, they realize that it's a normal thing. But everyone's wearing masks in the train stations. So it was really interesting to see how I had the idea of having a young girl on a train, and that's fine, and we can follow her during the story. But then what happens when people in New York City wearing masks? No matter because everyone's mask is different nowadays, and
Yeah.
everyone, no matter this is a new normal. It's not about having people smile anymore. It's about people's eyes and people's masks, and if they're complying to saving your life rather than saving theirs with a mask, what does that message
Yep.
seem like in a video? So I
Right.
really had the idea of just having those people look straight at the camera and let basically. And straight to camera, slow motion. I love when some people are turning to the camera, but just people's eyes and their masks and it's just my face. We're here. Making films, you get really infatuated people's faces, and we had a really good we had a really good crop of talented people who saw the video being filmed and want to be a part of it, so we captured them right away.
Yeah. It always kind of blows me away. Now you have to read somebody's eyes and eyebrows to know
Yeah,
what their
yeah,
expression is. You
yeah,
can't read lips anymore. There's, nothing like nose and below.
yeah.
But that is one of my favorite parts of the video are all the faces.
Yes,
There's certainly, a lot of, there's all kinds of women, of all ages. There's men in there too. Um, but a couple of the young faces were, some girls from the Haven Academy. And
yes.
in fact, the star of the video, or my co-star, Heaven, is the little
Yeah.
girl who we see riding the train, and she wakes up
She
on
was so
election
great.
day.
She was
She
so
was
great.
she was
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
And of course, one of my favorite parts at the end is that we're both standing by the Fearless Girl
yeah,
statue.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Speaking of the statues, that women's rights monument
Yes.
in Central Park, so powerful.
Yeah, I will go out there and say to you, Queen, that we are the first music video to shoot that women's rights statue. And I hope we go down in history in the idea of New York City statues and videos, and we were the first. And it was interesting when we were filming it there, people were totally giving us our space.
Yeah,
It was, and I think because maybe there's less tourists now around New York City where they think they
yep,
own the city. It's,
yep.
it's like you're shooting a music video, but move out the way. I came all the way from Poland to get this photo. We didn't have that. We just had neighbors saying, "Yeah, whatever you want to do, we'll step aside and watch." this amazing performance by Queen Bee. But yeah, the statues were definitely, we talked about different statues around New York City, and if it was up to you and I, if we were shooting for 5 days, we would have hit every statue. But
Yeah.
we kind of like brought it down to the three most important ones. We had the women's rights statue at Central Park. We had the statue in Bryant Park. We had
Gertrude
Hope,
Stein.
Gertrude Stein. We had the Hope statue, which I loved. I love the idea because of the red, and it pops so much with the accent of the red for your voting, and it just felt so New York City and so urban. So these different statues, I think, in a subtle way, that's what we're going for, because that's what me and Willful Productions, we do things in a subtle way, hopefully. But in a music video, you have to make a big statement. But I think your performance and song was a statement, and the visuals behind us were subtle.
Well, I thank you for saying that. I'm just so happy with this end result. I felt like both were meshed together, like in a way that was even better than what I envisioned. Like,
did you think we were going to do a bad job at first, or how did you not expect this good video to come out of this mind?
No. I didn't.
No,
I knew we'd come up with something good, but it's just, to me, it's one of the most powerful visual projects I've ever done, and in a lot of ways, because it's so timely right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Today is October 26th. For the record, I called you on September 15th, and I said, "Hey, Jose, should you choose to accept this mission, in 30 days we will have shot and released a video of a song you've never heard,
yes,
et cetera, et cetera." And you thank God, chose to accept the mission. And we shot the video October 3rd and 4th on Saturday and Sunday in New York City. And we released it Tuesday the 20th.
Yeah.
So it was just...
It was exactly what...
35 days.
Yeah, it was exactly what it's supposed to be, in the sense of, hey, I'm creating something. Do you want to be a part of it, or do you not? Of course I want to be a part of it, because as people are, hopefully they know that, you and I worked on my first debut feature film. You're an actress in it.
Yes.
In our film. We'll get to that, but I just knew that we had the same sensibility in the artistic process, and also in the views of art. So I just definitely knew to work with you, so be it as an actress, director, or even so be it as director, talent. I mean, whatever it was, I just want to continue working with you. So it was just easy to kind of just trust that we could come up with something together.
Yeah, and let's just talk about your film for a second. Your debut feature film, A New York Christmas Wedding, which is coming out on Netflix next week.
Yeah, November 5th. Yep. It's I mean, amazing. You're one of your feature films that you're in is going to be on Netflix for everyone to see. So
that's crazy. That's
Isn't
crazy.
That amazing? I'm still bothered about a SAG card too.
I'm getting it. I promise. Yes. I'm getting it. I'm all over it. I'm all over it this week. I promise.
Yes. Okay.
I'm voting. I'm getting my SAG card. I'm having
go.
a Den show. We're doing all the things this week.
Yes.
But congratulations. I know that's
a
huge accomplishment. It's got to feel so good.
Yeah, it feels good, because all the work that we put in over the past 18 months is now at a place where, some people could see it now and they could think, okay, you guys did something good. It's a hard thing to have people realize this is all the hard work we're doing behind the scenes. You bring up shooting this music video and delivering it to people in 35 days. It took work to do that. And people who know it, but people who don't, like, oh, cool, you did that, and that took you what? 3, they see a 4-minute video, they think it's something that happens, quickly, but it's good to kind of, even for me creatively, the past year, what I have to show other than the fact of the feature film that hasn't come out yet, or now it's a music video. So I think something like this was perfect at the perfect time, and to kind of just create something while this other film will be released. So it's good.
I have to say that working with you on your film was my first legit film project. I have a very small role in the beginning, but
very important role though. Important role.
But I had a blast doing it, and I knew that and just from having watched your film several times, and and you've been in how many film festivals?
For this one, I think about 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, which is amazing. So, and
Yeah.
just seeing your Q&As after, and just really seeing where the perspective where you came, and you know, knowing you a little bit personally, I just knew that we would come up with something great together. You know,
Yeah.
having worked with you, but this was far beyond my expectations. So
Yeah, and also, I do want to say, and a lot of people, they, because of the music video, they kind of figure out how did this all pair up and work. And I mentioned to them how me and V, she, we met, and then I was telling her about my first short film, Jitters, and then
yeah,
you said, so I put you said, can I see it? And I sent you a link, and then right away you wrote me back. You said, I remember this, and I tell people this. Aside from even people who know you, just the idea that how good your notes were. You said how you saw the film, you saw two men in the back room of a church, and being someone who lived your life in New York City and being where you are in your life, you never predicted, spoiler alert, that they were getting married. And that says something about you, V, rather than about the film. And you have to go back and watch it again. And I
right,
was floored by that comment because it means that you took in the art rather than just saying, "Oh, I saw a good job," and you really took it in. You really were open enough to experience something. And then from there, you cut this up at your shows, and I went to your shows, and every time I went to your shows, I just saw there was not even just a performance because you do that, you've been doing that forever, but you're playing different characters, different songs. You have your fall balls. You're creating this whole dynamic. It's like almost like with you and your band, it's a big, not just a concert, but it's a big show. And I do always felt that something else that because of how you think about things artistically, because of how you perform, because of how you write and play instrument as a talented person, if anything I could ever do to work with you on the acting side, because you get it, it would be a good honor. Then the film came about, then I wrote a role, and boom, here we are. So people ask me about this. I'm just trying to say how it all comes from V's artistic mind rather than V being I'm Queen V. More than that. I'm saying, but more than that, you're someone who's really an artistic person and a talented person who gets art, and that translates through music, through films, through paintings. That all these artists are artists, and you are a true artist,
yeah.
and I would love to keep on having a journey with you. So,
I
yeah.
mean, that would be incredible. For me, songwriting is all about telling a story.
Yeah.
And most of the time when I write, I always think of like what scene is that in the movie, and
Yeah.
there needs to be an arc.
Yeah.
There's a beginning, a middle, how does it how to not resolve, but what is the result,
Yeah.
through that process, if you will. But that's why I love film so much, and I love
Yeah.
I just love stories,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
love seeing like what happens, and not just the plot, but how a person changes from
Yeah.
within, or like the place that they get to or come to with it. And even in this video, it was important to have a narrative, and
Yes.
your contribution of coming up with the story of the little girl. You're like, I just see this little girl waking up on election day, and I'm like, okay, I think I know somebody who can help us with that, Neff Jones in
Yeah.
Haven Kids. So
Yeah. Yeah. And it's
that
it's
really
funny
worked out.
because then at first with the first iteration, people were saying, but it's a girl on election day, she can't vote. And I'm trying to tell people, it doesn't matter if she can vote or not. It's an important day for everyone in this world. Even my dog knows. I'm heard November 3rd for the past 2 years.
Yeah,
Something's gonna happen there. Either we
yeah,
get a big treat or the world's gonna change. She doesn't know.
right.
But it's the idea. I always felt like having that young girl and having, and we talked about what you wanted in the video. You mentioned what you wanted and how you wanted to keep it simple but not try to overpower it with you know women doing women bench pressing in the middle of Central Park, or women or men jumping from scaffoldings to kind of show they're very strong. Who just
Yeah,
went to show. Basically, we just want to show New York is still alive. That's all it is. And I think hopefully the video kind of shows or incorporates the idea that if you're not in New York City, you would think from hearing from other people that New York City is dead or a
right.
ghost town. It
Yeah,
is not. In this
right.
video, it represents a passage of time before November 3rd, or in the video November 3rd, where New Yorkers are alive and they're out here and they're doing it. And they're doing it with a smile on their face too.
Yep. Even if you can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's true. I mean, we do have some physical representations of female strength. We've got Chelsea doing the pull-ups on
Love it.
scaffolding,
Love it.
which I am always so impressed with. We have Mariana and Julie in the park
Yeah.
with yoga, which if you've ever done yoga, it's not just a bunch of stretching. Like you actually need a lot of core strength to do
Yeah.
yoga, and to
Yeah.
do headstands and all, all the warrior poses and whatnot, but also just the inner strength and resilience.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, even
no,
that one
no
shot
matter
of the
what
video,
age.
yeah, even that one shot of the video, the young kid picking up the bubbles, and people like, oh, that's cute. I'm like, it's more than cute. He's showing you
Yeah.
strong.
Yeah.
He's showing
Yeah.
you strong, trying to pick it up. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to Mariana and Julie. It's like Mariana, I've known her for the past 6 years. We've been part of a theater company together. Talented actress, very good supporter. She was in Jitters as well. So
Hmm.
what's coming to happen with Willful Productions, you're seeing the same people in our type of projects. But Mariana, till this day, she does um, yoga inside Central Park, and that was a
Yeah.
real yoga class we captured.
Yeah.
And she's basically someone who I'm just floored and amazed by. People are staying inside their house at the time for the past months, but she was still getting out there. Even if one person was there, she was still performing yoga to get people outside to do something.
Yeah.
So that's an idea of strength, aside from her being yoga posing, but just the mentality of someone who really wants to get back during this time.
Yeah.
And Chelsea, Chelsea, you and Ed were like, Chelsea can do whatever you want to do. And I'm like, okay. We had Chelsea running in some scenes, but it's a visual of her doing a pull up on a street scaffolding is definitely something where it's very New York City. Yeah, I used to do that when I was younger. And it's funny because people should know that, we did it a couple times, and then V's like, make sure you get her full body so people know it's real. I'm like, yeah. Like, it's not going to be fake. It's real.
It's
She's
not a
really
pose.
doing it.
It's not a pose.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
She was
Um,
great. She was
yeah,
great.
that was great. I have to say though that there were a couple shots when we were in Central Park, as Bill and I call Central Park Theater.
Yeah.
Um, there's obviously the guys with the bubbles, and there's the
Yeah.
guy like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
there's the saxophone
Saxophone. Yeah.
player, but the accordion player
Yes.
who's playing and goes like this. That was
Yes.
not scripted. He just
No.
went and did that. We were like, do
Yeah.
you know what this video is?
And was so good about that because he was playing his accordion and it sounded nice. And then we were saying thank you. He's like, yeah, he just nodded, said do that, and I'm like, please do that again. And I think our wonderful editor Ian Phillips, he really captured these moments and put them to the song.
Yeah.
Him going like that with strong. It just seems very much like you're on your way.
Yeah.
I'm a wise man just telling you stay strong.
Yeah.
And even the saxophone player, we had it a place before, but Ian placed it back at a place where you hear
the guitar solo.
The guitar
solo.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
So yeah, it's not a saxophone mimicking a guitar. It's just the idea like, what a saxophone sounds like. With the guitar solo, you get a visual with him playing a saxophone. And I think that worked really, really well. And I would say though, my favorite part of the video, or your performance in the video, is when definitely, you called it the Limp Bizkit type of shots, but I love it because you're coming right at the camera, shoulda, woulda, doing all that stuff. And I just love the idea, the energy you brought. And I would say that, again, going back to you as a performer, there's different ranges of your performance in this video. You start off very, very, I'm not going to say somber, that's the wrong word. You start off very, very reserved, and you're saying the words of what they are. It starts building. It's building. You get your strong moments, your hope moments, your hands raised, which we say in the acting world, it's a sign of joy. We match that. And then when you get to that part of the breakdown, and you're really going at the camera, I just love the fact where you're giving us all the energy. At this point of the song, you're like, we're going to take it all. And then to my favorite part also, the ending is when you drop the Volt mask on John Lennon, which at the time that, was a couple of days before his 75th anniversary, I think that was. And then, yeah, it was something that we really thought was a really touching moment.
Yeah. Well, it's 2020, and it was 1980 when he was killed.
Yeah.
I want to say. So it's been 40 years.
I don't know what his birthday is exactly.
His birthday is October 9th. So yes, so it would have been right.
It's 75th. I'm sorry, it would have been 75th birthday. Yeah. So it's very and then I had one person at first was like, why would those flowers be? They should have moved them. And I'm thinking, you can't move. You can't move flowers.
You can't move.
They're for John Lennon. Come on, you're not moving flowers.
Yeah.
That's great.
But thank you.
Of course.
Let me just say one other thing. Shout out to my band.
Yes.
And amazing New York City band who played on the track, on the recording. We recorded it here last September, produced by my co-writer Chad Carlson. who's in Nashville. We imported him to New York last fall to record the track here, which was a blast and one of the most fulfilling recording experiences of my life. But during the saxophone part, where you see the gentleman with the saxophone over the guitar solo, so that guitar solo is Jimmy Bones.
Wow, Jimmy.
The husband of Neff Jones, who helped us with the Haven Kids, and you see her cameo. She's the first mask you see where it just says vote, and it's just so powerful at the end of the first chorus. But Jimmy has a cameo.
Two of them. I mean, I
he does, and I caught them on the subway, which is amazing.
Yep.
So anyway, shout out to my band and Jimmy there. I just want to point that out. That's sort of like when you watch it like a million, thousand, billion, zillion times, you're like, oh, I never saw that before.
Yeah,
okay.
It's so interesting because
great work, Ian.
Yeah, great job, guys. And also someone like Neff, who was so good to work with her too, because we explained to her what we're going for. And Neff's a casting director. I'll be in a room with Neff and she'll tell me what to do and guide me, but she knew exactly what we said, what we're going for. Like, okay, I got it. And then did it right away. It's like, oh, done. It's really a beautiful face, beautiful curls, and a vote mask. I mean, again, you brought in a lot of people who are just uber professional. Just knew what they wanted to get for you in the video. So we never had obviously any problems, but we had everyone's on board to kind of just tell the story.
Yeah, I felt like the energy of every single person on the team was really there. Same with Jamal.
Oh yeah,
working with Jamal, director of photography.
Yeah,
there were moments where we were like kind of circling each other, and it was really fun. It was almost like kind of dancing. You know?
Yeah.
And your direction of the what we call the Limp Bizkit part, the shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah.
That was super fun. I know we did that a bunch of times. So
I mean, it's good because even Jamal, he's done a lot of different music videos, but he's done a lot of rap videos. So this was different to him, and I guess why it would be different to him, but in the end, it's still good music. So, but he loved the experience of just capturing things that weren't trying to target something other than the visual of a performance. It wasn't trying to have something, make something look bigger than what it is. So Jamal definitely was, and he was all full on board and doing the work. And I love that about our whole team. We took our breaks, but we were all this about, we had a sideline to get everything done.
Yep, we did. And get it done, we did.
Yeah. So now do you feel when you wrote the song Strong, and when you and Chad wrote it, what were some, like Strong Like a Lion, Strong in New York City, what were some like visuals you had when writing it?
So it's funny because we were talking about, literally like female athletes, and that kind of thing. And then that conversation and the writing of the song morphed into, well, what's it like to be an artist? What's it like to be a female artist? Or what's it like to be a little girl right now? What's it like to be anybody right now? And this was, 18 months ago. But the lyrics in the chorus, it's funny because I told my stepdaughter, Lindsay, this story yesterday. But strong like a lion, we were trying to think of like what is the strongest? And I was like, a lion, like it's king of the, like there's, and I was like, lion, is that a little Disney maybe? And then I was like, no, like what would I say to like little girls right now? What would I say to like Lindsay's kids, who are like 4 and 2? Like, what do you say to an 8-year-old? What do you say to Heaven? What do you say to a 16-year-old? And just to have that sort of sweet innocence about it, even if it's like referencing to a Lion King, which is also a very powerful story. So I was like, no, let's leave it and see how it goes. And now every time I sing lion, you'll notice in the video, I have to smile when I sing it. It just, and grace of an angel, smart and you're grateful. Yeah. And then it came to the next line, so damn hard like New York City. We were trying to think of like, what is the most like we were like hard like pavement, like concrete, and we were just like New York City.
Yeah,
it says it on. This was again 18 months ago when we were writing this, and it holds up more than ever now.
Now, do you think New Yorkers would take offense to that at all, or no?
No.
Yeah, I just asked you that because if you're not from New York, people be like, yeah, New York City, it's like it's a tough city, but New Yorkers take pride in being
resilient.
Yes,
resilient.
Yes, and I think also there's a moment in the video during the breakdown when you have the skateboarder, but when you sing, but you're worth it, You
Yeah.
deserve, and you know, we seen it. We're recording this amazing skateboard in Times Square, and we did this several times. And you know, he didn't land most of his skateboarding tricks, and then Ian did it in a beautiful way where he he captured him doing it in motion, slow motion, and however you want to say it. And I told Ian, I'm like, yeah, you know, but he didn't land them. And then Ian, and this goes back to how our whole team was basically on the same page of what strong means.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter, show this effort. And right then I'm like, kind of like, wow, you know, like Ian gets it. What you wrote. It's not about proving you could, like, to my point, bench press 400 pounds as any type of person. It's proven that no matter what happens, you get knocked down, you still have effort to get back up, but show your strength.
Yeah. As Bill would say, it's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up.
Yeah, yeah, and I think
Which,
yeah, and it was so funny as you made the video too, you know, because I'm you know I grew up, I have my mother, my sister, you know, I'm very very female influence in my life, and then you know it's having someone like Bill who's been at every show and supporting you 100%. I'm like, how would he see this as a very female centric video, and you know to have him kind of see things that were just not, you know, a universal type of message rather than a message that's just about female. Because I don't think the video is that. It has that. But if
yeah.
you're a man or if you're a dog in 2020, you would know that, yeah, women are the strongest people in the world right now. We have to respect them and showcase them in a way that is universal, because a woman's strength is the same as a child's strength. Or, you know, it's so important to see people at every type of level or every type of form of, you know, masculine pride. It just knows that this video is still something that's universal to them as well.
You know, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because it was very important to me that we didn't just have women in the
Yeah.
video, um, or, you know, women my age. I wanted women of all ages, young girls too, but it was important to me that we also had the men as well.
Hmm.
And even non-binary people. If I
Yeah.
didn't know if there were any in the video, but
Yeah.
because it is about all of us. It's
Yes.
not about
100%.
me. It's not about you. It's about
100%.
all of us.
Yeah.
And that is something that collectively, you know, even with all of the challenges that we're facing right now in the city and, you know, in the world.
Yeah.
Election day is next week, and as you know, I was saying to Jamal every other minute, please
Yeah.
vote,
Yeah.
please vote,
Yeah. Yeah.
Jamal,
Yeah.
please vote,
Yeah. Yeah. What do
because
we?
it's important.
Yeah. It's like, you know, we're doing a music video about voting, and you know, that's the message that we're going for.
which
Voting.
was one of the most powerful behind the scenes production moments for me, were some of the conversations that the three of us had, you,
Yeah.
Jamal, and I, about just about life and just
Yeah.
about things, and, you know, different perceptions of, oh, well, that's how you see, you know. So
Yeah.
anyway, it was just such a great experience, and I can't thank you guys enough for jumping on
Yeah.
board
No,
to
we
this
we thank you
crazy
for.
project.
I mean, it was my first music video, and they've done others, but it's my first time doing it. But it was 150% fun, and that guy goes by you and your team. And also, I mean, the song is a song, but it's a good song to work on, you know. So everyone would say, you had 35 days till you asked, but then for 35 days and almost forever, that song will be in my head forever. So,
Well, sorry, and you're
no,
welcome.
I love it. I love it. You know,
Well,
it's a really, really, it's a great song, and
thank you.
I hope the video adds to the visuals of the song. But I also think, no matter what, the video is a capture of time for us as artists, and also for New York City, and
Yep.
also we're the first video to shoot in front of the Women's Rights Statue at Central Park.
I love it. And the track comes out on all streaming platforms this Friday,
Mm.
October 30th. So hopefully people will listen and enjoy it, and always think of the great little video that we made together, the mini
Yeah,
movie, as I call
the
it.
mini movie. Yeah, and I would say too. I'm sorry. The the idea of putting it together.
The short.
Yeah.
Who likes short?
The idea of putting it together, other than it being, it was almost the same process, basically, you know, having the same type of comparison of what do you want visually to then how do you cast this and how do you put it together and how do you shoot it, is very much the same way, but it was still done in a way where, you know, with our guidance together, it just made it, we were all on the same page. So
Yeah.
it made the video that much more stronger, as we had so many different puns when emailing. This will be a strong moment, you know.
Well,
So, yeah.
that's a strong statement, my friend, but I'll take it, and I appreciate it very
There
much.
you
So
go.
thank you again.
Thank you so much. Congratulations.
Thank you, and to you too.
Thank you.
And next week,
Yeah.
November 5th, your Christmas wedding. Netflix. Check it out.
Yes.
All right. I'll
All right.
talk to you soon. Peace.
Thank you.
Bye.